The message was desperate. The enemy ships are already here. They are burning our cities. It was scratched into clay in the city of Ugarit, sometime around 1190 BC. And then it just stops. The tablet was never finished. Within days, the city itself was gone. So here's the strange part. Between about 1200 and 1150 BC, the most powerful civilizations in the Mediterranean began to fall. Not in slow decline, but almost at the same time. Kingdoms that had ruled for centuries disappeared within a few decades. Egypt blamed a shadowy force. They called them the Sea Peoples. And after that, well, the story becomes unclear. What makes this unsettling is simple. We still don't know who they were. Now, before all of this, the world they lived in was remarkably connected. The Hittite Empire controlled Anatolia. The palace states of Mycenaean Greece dominated much of the Aegean. And Egypt was thriving under rulers like Ramesses II. Ships crossed open water carrying copper from Cyprus. Tin arrived from far beyond the Mediterranean. Grain shipments moved between kingdoms. Kings even wrote to one another as equals. It must have felt stable, even permanent. But stability can be deceptive. Around 1207 BC, Egyptian records begin mentioning foreign groups attacking their borders. And then, over the next few decades, destruction layers appear across the eastern Mediterranean. Hattusa burned. Mycenaean palaces fell. Ugarit vanished completely. Trade didn't stop overnight, but it contracted sharply. Egypt survived only just. At Medinet Habu, Pharaoh Ramesses III carved what he described as a decisive victory around 1177 BC. Warships collide. Arrows arc through the air. Warriors in feathered headdresses fight at close range. But if you look carefully, something feels different. There are ox carts in the carvings, women, children. So this doesn't look like a typical invasion. It looks like movement, relocation. Ramesses declared that he crushed them, that Egypt stood firm. However, that raises a difficult question. If Egypt defeated the Sea People, why did the rest of the Mediterranean collapse? By the time this victory was carved in stone, entire civilizations were already gone. So either Egypt was exaggerating, or something much larger was happening at the same time. The late Bronze Age world depended on coordination. Bronze needed copper and tin. If one supply failed, production slowed. If more than one failed, power started to weaken. Then, within a short span of time, things began to break. In Anatolia, earthquakes hit cities that were already under strain. Around the same period, the climate shifted. Drought spread across the eastern Mediterranean. Harvests failed across lands that depended on each other through trade. Caravans stopped arriving. Ports fell quiet. Storehouses ran low. These problems didn't come in order, they came together. A system that relied on balance began to lose it. And it was during this period, not earlier, not later, that new names show up in Egyptian records. Jordan, Shekelesh, Peliset. No clear homeland, no shared story. They appear at the same time. The Bronze Age world starts to come apart. Were they the reason? Or were they a result of everything already going wrong? We don't know, but the timing stands out. After 1150 BC, something unsettling unfolds. In mainland Greece, writing disappears for centuries. Large palace systems vanish. International exchange shrinks dramatically. Population levels fall in several regions. This wasn't just a change of rulers. It was structural collapse. A reset of the entire system. So what ended the Bronze Age? Some point to invasion by sea. Others to drought and crop failure. There were signs of unrest within cities. Trade networks were breaking down. Earthquakes struck key regions. It probably wasn't a single cause. Several pressures were building at the same time. History doesn't usually collapse from one strike. It starts to fall apart when everything hits at once. The Sea Peoples left no archive of their own. No explanation. Only images carved by those who survived. They came from the sea. That's the name history gave them. But perhaps the greater mystery isn't who they were. It's how close the world already was to breaking. What do you think really happened? Share your theory in the comments. Subscribe for more mysteries.